My very favorite food in the whole world is the hamburger. I love them. I've yet to meet a hamburger that I didn't somehow respect and love in some way. I love Wendy's burgers. I love Big Macs, McDonald's burgers. I like the burgers from Burger King and Rally's. And of course, one of my favorites is Fuddruckers. But for all my love of burgers, it wasn't until recently I learned a little bit about where they came from and how the hamburger was born. In the 13th century, wild nomadic horsemen known as Tartars overran most of Asia and Eastern Europe. They had a distinct way of preparing meat. Slice off a large chunk of horse meat or beef and slip it under a saddle. A few days of hard riding would tenderize it, and then it was chopped up and eaten raw. This custom was introduced into the area we now call Germany by traders traveling down the Elbe River to Hamburg. The German people did not eat horse meat, but they did start serving ground raw beef flavored with garlic, spices, and a raw egg. Today it's called a steak tartare and is still popular in Europe. And for those who preferred cooked beef, the raw beef patties became the first hamburger steaks, but they weren't the handheld sandwiches we call hamburgers. Those came hundreds of years later. It began around 1879 in a restaurant near the docks of Hamburg, of the Hamburg America line in Germany. Sorry for stumbling over those words. Owner Otto Kaus began serving a sandwich American sailors loved: 2 slices of buttered bread, pickle strips, and a fried beef patty with a butter-fried egg on top. Add a mug of good German beer, and this sandwich made an excellent and inexpensive dinner. So many Yankee seamen came to his restaurant for the sandwich that Kaus listed it on his menu as American steak. And when the sailors returned home, they taught restaurants along the eastern seaboard how to make it. Soon all customers had to say was, "Bring me a hamburger." The name stuck, even when the recipe changed. In 1904, to celebrate the centennial of the Louisiana Purchase, St. Louis staged a huge World's Fair. There were hundreds of vendors selling food, including German immigrants peddling their native fare. This included a new version of the old hamburger. The slices of bread were replaced with dinner rolls, which fit the round meat patty. Butter was expensive, so the rolls were smeared with the cheaper Heinz ketchup, and the butter-fried egg was replaced by slices of onion, tomato, and pickles. The new hamburger was inexpensive because cheaper cuts of beef could be used, and it was an instant success. People from all over the country attended the fair and returned home ready to eat more. There was one flaw: the dinner rolls made burgers harder to eat. So, for another dozen years or so, people kept using the traditional slices of bread. Then, an enterprising cook in Wichita, Kansas, invented the last component of the modern hamburger. He created a round, soft bun that absorbed the juices of the meat patty. He was J. Walter Anderson, and he was working as a short-order cook when he made his discovery. And soon after, he bought an old trolley and converted it into a 5-stool diner, specializing in burgers at 5 cents each. This was in 1916, but it was a real bargain even then. In 1920, Anderson added 2 more diners, stressing their cleanliness with the name White Castle Hamburgers. Others followed, and White Castle became the first national hamburger chain.